Okay, great. Yes, Marcelo. I know what I'm doing, baby. All right, everybody. Welcome to Happy, How to Overcome Depression. And I think this is a really important discussion. And, there are different levels of depression. There is mild and goes all the way up to severe depression. And from my experience, working with personal development, working with transformation, I have found that people have moved through depression and are really able to use powerful tools and techniques of transformation to really step into their joy. And I've also witnessed people that are clinically depressed, severely depressed, who are also in need of medical attention. So I think it's always wise for us to be in communication with our doctors, really finding out, is this on the severe side? Is this clinical depression? Do I need, you know, some medical attention on this? Or can I use holistic remedies? Can I use transformational tools and techniques to overcome this depression? And I have seen many, many, many times people get off of anxiety medication and really move into a place of joy and peace with using holistic remedies and tools of transformation. But again, I just, as a precursor to this course, want to just communicate clearly that I think we always should check in with our medical professionals wherever we are in life, whatever's going on with us, not to self-diagnose, to really reach out and get the help that we need so that we know what we're dealing with. It's interesting. I have many different doctors that I work with, and I work with healing practitioners, and I work with Western and Eastern and all sorts of people. So it's really great for me to have it all. All right, so for those of you who do not know who I am, my name is Jennifer Grace. I am a Hay House author, transformational coach, and I teach a couple of different courses. One course that I teach is called the CI Journey. It stems from Stanford University. It's a master's degree course in transformation. I'm also a published author. I'm with Hay House Publishing, and I run a retreat company, Om Lux Retreats. So what you're going to learn today is you're going to gain awareness of your thought patterns that are causing depression and anxiety so that you can experience unlimited peace and joy. You're going to understand the simple science of how to interrupt negative thought patterns to change your brain in order to shift your reality so that you can live a life that you love. You're going to discover how to use daily mindfulness, meditation, and intention to create a new reality that is full of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment, and how to become the master of your thoughts to stop obsessive thinking so that you can think clearly, sleep, and enjoy your life more. So here are the ground rules. I'm going to ask you all to turn off your Facebook, turn off your email, your cell phones, have an open mind, an open heart, and just commit to playing all out during this time that we have together so that you can have it all. Today's promise is that you will receive powerful tools and practical techniques that you can start implementing immediately. And at the end of this masterclass, I have a gift for you, something that will make you very happy because it's free. So please stay on to the end so you can receive your gift. So why do we get depressed? So here are some reasons: chronic stress, debt, financial problems, grief from loss, a romantic breakup, being single, encountering family drama, being in a toxic current relationship or marriage, lack of fulfilling purposeful work, unresolved trauma from childhood, lack of self-love, body image. Hold on a second. Somebody's saying you don't see my screen. One second, guys. Share my screen. Here we go. Can you guys see my screen now? Awesome. Thank you. All right, I'm going full screen. There we go. Okay, great. Hold on a second. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, so why do we get depressed? Here are the reasons I was just listing, but now you can see them: chronic stress, debt, financial problems, grief from loss, romantic breakup, being single, family drama, toxic current marriage or relationship, lack of fulfilling purposeful work, unresolved trauma from childhood, lack of self-love, body image, or aging, or health problems. So here are some of the reasons. And I want you to know that you're actually not alone. 14.8 million Americans suffer from depression, and 121 million people worldwide do. It can develop at any age, but the median age at onset is 32 years old. 80% of individuals affected by depression do not receive any help. And when I found this statistic, I was absolutely shocked that 80% of people affected by it are not reaching out for help. So that makes you guys the 20%, which I love. The fact that you even signed up for this, that you're seeking, clarity, that you're seeking, ways and practical ways to shift out of depression and into joy, that already puts you in the 20%. But it really saddened me that there's so many people out there suffering needlessly. So I understand this because I have been there too. There have been different times in my life that I have personally gone through depression. The worst was almost now 10 years ago. The really, really worst time for me was in 2007. I had spent all of my divorce settlement by starting 6 companies, 6 websites, 6 logos, and ultimately 6 failures. I was trying to figure out my life's purpose, right? And I never made a business plan. I had all of these creative ideas, but I never really put the foundation under them. And I was grasping, trying to figure out what my purpose was, listening to what a lot of people were telling me I should be doing. Because of those failed businesses and lack of clarity, I was in over $35,000 of debt. I was single and alone. I had no clue what my life's purpose was. And I was a single mom trying to keep our heads above water. And my son Cole was having night terrors. So during the divorce period, it's obviously very challenging for children. And my son at the time was very young. And there was a point where he was waking up for 3 weeks in a row, every single night, screaming, having what's called night terrors. And as a parent, it's terrifying. For the child, it's terrifying. And I was in the lowest, most depressed place in my life. It was obviously affecting my child. The divorce was affecting my child. And I remember going to his doctor, his psychologist, and everybody said, you've got to wait it out. Time is going to heal it, and there's nothing we can do. And finally, I sought out an incredible holistic remedy. And it was a sequence that he took. And of course, he was a young child. He had no idea what he was taking. And by the second day of this holistic remedy, he was fine. He never woke up screaming night terror again. And I, at that time, found my own transformational tools and journey and began to get myself out of my hole. So this is us at that time. So then I found the CI journey, and my son found this incredible holistic remedy. So, CI journey, this is what changed and saved my life, these tools of transformation. I met this incredible woman, Julia Romaine. She was a coach in New York City. She had heard about a course out at Stanford University that Dr. Michael Ray had created actually back in 1979. It was a curriculum to help the business students really get out of their own way and have tools to overcome anxiety, tools to figure out what their life's purpose was, tools to cultivate their intuition. And it was actually touted the most life transforming course ever to be taught at Stanford. So Julia Romaine went out there and she said, "Why are you hiding it here? Let's bring it into the world." So at that time, 9/11 had just happened, and she got a grant from Bear Stearns for over $500,000 to give this course for free to women that lost their husbands in 9/11. So you can imagine the level of depression, anxiety, lack of clarity, lack of purpose that these women were experiencing. And I came to her in my own ground zero. And when they went through this course, they also had grief counseling. But this was, CI Journey was a forward motion. It was a coaching model. It was tools to get them over that hump and reinvent their lives. And it worked. They popped. They became artists and entrepreneurs and published authors, and they regained hope and had possibility. I mean, it was extraordinary. So Julia said, "Okay, let's start teaching regular people. It works at the business, school at Stanford. It works with trauma. Let's give it to regular folks." So I was a student. I took the course. Week 5, I popped and I said, "This is it. I now know what my purpose is. I want to take this to South Florida." And I never looked back. So between CI Journey for me and the holistic remedy for Cole, here is our life after. And there we are. We're very happy. We are living joyful, balanced lives. We really have an incredible relationship. As a teenager, we've been through difficult times together, but we keep coming back to the tools again and again to really have a conscious, loving relationship as mother and son. So for me, utilizing these amazing tools, I got to meet the love of my life. It is a true sacred partnership. We've been together for 2 years now and lived together happily ever now. I found my life's purpose to become a transformational CI Journey coach, and I get to make a difference in the lives of others. This is some of our graduations. I teach it here in Miami. I became a Hay House published author. There's me with my mentor, Louise Hayes, and my other mentor, Deepak Chopra. I had a very successful run on Hay House radio for 3 years. I was sandwiched between Esther Hicks and Dr. Wayne Dyer. Can you imagine how awesome having them in my ears for those years were? And I also got promoted by Dr. Michael Ray when he retired. He and Julia, he's 85, Julia's in her 70s, and they are complete. So 2.5 years ago, they passed the baton to me, and now I teach. I'm the only train the trainer for the Stanford course, CI Journey. I have 63 trainers under me. It's in 6 different languages, 6 different countries, all under my direction. And now I think the most exciting thing is we have created it for kids and teens. So that's very exciting. I got out of debt, and this might be crazy, but I want to be upfront with you all. Here is my 2015 tax return. If you see up there is a very nice big number. And I was able to pull that off last year. So it is possible to go from completely out of debt into abundance. So there is nothing extra special about me. except that I've learned these valuable tools and I've worked them. So I proudly present to you Happy, 6 profound tools to overcome depression. I will be taking tools directly out of the CI Journey course based on the Stanford University master's degree class in order to help you really shift from sorrow to joy today. So before we dive in, if you would be so kind to share with me why you feel depressed. Is it chronic stress, financial problems? Are you suffering from grief, a romantic breakup, being single? Just type it in. Family drama, current relationship is toxic. You don't know what your life's purpose is. You haven't resolved trauma from your childhood. You have lack of self-love or self-hatred for body. You're depressed about getting older, health problems, or some other reason. Okay, so I have chronic stress, being single, chronic stress, lack of purpose, financial, health, all the above, family drama, financial problems, lack of self-love, financial, childhood trauma, financial, got it. A lot of financial. Life transition, financial, lack of purpose, stress, debt, breakup, all the above, finance, moving, relationship, health, financial, breakup, financial. Wow, a lot of financial. Really interesting. Got it. Grief. Yeah. Husband has, yeah, Parkinson's. Got it. Okay. So thank you all for sharing that with me. It's important for me to know what's going on with my students, and so that I can better serve them. So there are emotional symptoms of depression, and I think it's important for us to be aware of that. And they are extreme irritability over minor things. So little things just like snap you out. Anxiety, restlessness. This can come, where you can't sleep. You feel this nervousness all the time. You blow up at the drop of a hat. Anger management issues. Things that used to get you excited, you lose interest now. Fixation on the past. That's where the obsessive thinking starts to come in. You just can't stop thinking about the past. And thoughts of death or suicide. And if it's this bad, you definitely want to seek medical attention. Physical symptoms of depression: insomnia or sleeping too much, like you just can't get out of bed. Debilitating fatigue, like you've slept 8 hours and you're still exhausted. Increase or decreased appetite, which can lead to weight gain or weight loss. Difficulty concentrating or making decisions. And unexplained aches or pains. A lot of people have neck pain and back pain, and they've never gotten hurt, and it wasn't from working out. It's just these pains start to arise. So I think it's really important to know the signs of it, so that you can seek attention and get help, just like coming to this webinar today. So I also think it's important to look at how serious it can get if left unresolved and left untreated. So depression can lead to alcohol or drug abuse, headaches, other chronic aches and pains, phobias, panic disorders, anxiety attacks, trouble with school or work, family and relationship problems, social isolation, overweight or obesity due to eating disorders, which then raises the risk of heart disease, risk of type 2 diabetes. It also increases the risk in heart attacks. People who are depressed actually have 4 times more likely to have a heart attack. So it's something we want to deal with and not just sweep under the carpet. It can also lead to self-mutilation, attempted suicide, or suicide. So depression is very serious. And I don't want this discussion to cause you more anxiety or depression. I want it to inform you, because knowledge is power. When you can figure out what's going on with you and identify what's happening, you can then shift and change it. If you just sweep up everything under the rug and say, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it gets worse and worse and worse. So before it goes way down the rabbit hole, it's really important to deal with it. So I found this quote, which I thought was really interesting, and it's by Epicurus. And he says, we must exercise ourselves in the things which bring us happiness, since if that be present, we have everything. And if that be absent, all of our actions are directed toward attaining it. So this webinar is called Happy. And we've heard that phrase, the pursuit of happiness. I think our life's purpose is partly to find joy, to find purposeful work, to find relationships that are healthy, to find ways of treating ourselves and others that bring us joy and peace and bliss. And if we grew up in homes that had a lot of conflict and a lot of drama, that might seem normal to us. But in my perspective, normal is happy. Normal is peaceful. And so today's tools is to really help you get from whatever conflict is raging inside of you, to have the tools to start to let that go and shift your interior perspective, because we can't always change the exterior circumstances, you know, what's happening outside of us, but we can shift internally. And when we shift internally, the whole world externally changes. So I think first and foremost, to really start getting out of the hole of depression is to shift your energy. This is something you do have control over. You may not have control over certain circumstances, like how much money is in your bank account right now, or something you've been diagnosed with health-wise, or the fact that your partner has just walked out. You know, you can't control some things, but this you can control. And this can take your depression from a 2 to an 8 like that, so quickly. And you have the control here. So if nothing else, changing your daily habits, your lifestyle, can really start to move you up into a more blissful, joyful way of being. And I know this might seem obvious, but I think it's important to implement these things. You know, it's all good to know about them, but it's putting things into action, putting things into practice that create movement, that create success. And for those of you who've worked with me before, you know that to me, accountability is everything. So whether you are going to do a 4-week series with me that's recorded and I'm there live for you every day on the Facebook group holding you accountable, or you're in a live classroom with me, either way, I am always there to support my students and hold them accountable, and to create a community that holds each other accountable for doing what you say you're going to do. Because it's all well and good to know this stuff in your mind, but until you implement it into your life, you will not see any results. So the first one is shifting your diet, eating healthy foods. Nothing should be in cans or processed. You know, my boyfriend's sister, she is a doula. She brings babies into the world, and she always says to her patients and to never go in the middle of the supermarket. Don't go down the aisles. Go around the perimeters, and that's where the fresh foods are. Right? Don't go to the canned and the processed stuff. And I think there are some definite no-nos that really have been shown scientifically to cause depression. So you might want to jot these down. To stay away from foods to avoid anything with refined sugar. Okay. So that's the whites, the breads, the pastas. Anything that is white turns into sugar. And anything that's like a Milky Way, obviously, that's sugar, to avoid those things. Because what happens is refined sugar causes our blood glucose levels to plummet. And that results in a sugar hangover that directly disrupts our moods. It just depletes our energy. So, maybe we're tired and we want to grab a candy bar and we get that boost, but then we get slammed down and that mood just goes into depression. So really avoiding sugary foods. Also, artificial sweeteners. It's bad stuff, especially if you're prone to depression. It actually blocks the production of neurotransmitter serotonin. That's the happy hormone. And it causes mood dips, headaches, insomnia. So we're talking about the sweet and lows, the stevias, and not the stevia, the Splenda, the Equal. What I use is stevia vanilla drops. I put it in my coffee, anything that I want a sweetener in. It's a plant-based, homeopathic, natural remedy. Stevia. Stay away from Splenda and Equal and Sweet and Low and anything that has that aspartame in it. Very, very bad for us. Processed food. Consuming refined or processed carbohydrates, like I said earlier, the white bread, cereal, pasta, snacks. This is going to cause the same impact on your blood sugar levels than eating a basket of jelly beans. That's how bad it is. And bagels are processed the same way that donuts are. Can you believe that? Yes. So bagels, no. Maybe once in a blue on a Sunday, you might want to have your bagel, but it's really the same as having a bowl of sugar. Also, avoid foods high in sodium. And we find this in fat-free foods. We're trying to, do some weight loss and we're going for all those fat-free foods. But what they do to make them taste good is they kick up the sodium. So the excess sodium in these products actually disrupt our neurological system. This contributes to depression and can really mess up your immune system. It can cause you to be very bloated, very tired. Too much salt leads to fluid retention and it makes you bloated. So, excuse me, we know how depressing that is when we feel bloated, right? Chris is so funny. Chris is saying, I'm eating a bagel as I watch the webinar. Okay, Chris, make it your last bagel. So unfortunately, the next thing to avoid is alcohol. So alcohol is actually a depressant. So if you have a history of depression, mood disorder, I really would be very careful around alcohol. Your central nervous system is responsible for taking in information through the senses, right? Controlling motor functions as well as thinking, understanding, reasoning. It also controls emotion. So alcohol slows all this down. So that's why when you drink, you may start feeling depressed. Caffeine. You think this would do the opposite. It would pep you up. But according to experts, even a modest amount of caffeine can contribute to depression and anxiety. So try teas. If you just want to have a warm something, try teas that have no caffeine in them. Put a little stevia, a little almond milk, still to have that kind of comforting drink that you're used to, but take the caffeine out of your diet. Water. The more water you drink, you're going to flush all of those toxins. So some studies show that water is a great anxiety quencher. When the body is dehydrated, it can actually induce anxiety, nervousness, and depression. So when we're dehydrated, our cells feel like it's at the molecular level and communicate this to the subconscious. And all of a sudden, anxiety arises. So the key to rebalance this is to drink 8 glasses of fresh water a day. Exercise. I don't love to exercise. I'll be honest with you. I'd much rather be working on a webinar. So, but I make myself because I know that's good for me. And I do things that bring me joy. And sometimes, guys, I just turn my computer off and I put on my favorite music and I dance around the living room like a wild lunatic. And I make sure I do it when my son's at school so I don't embarrass him because he's 16. And I sweat, or I live in a beautiful neighborhood. I go for one of those walk jogs. I love yoga, so I'll take a yoga class. I'm not a gym rat. I don't like to go to the gym, but they say walking is so good for us. It actually triggers the body's relaxation response and helps reduce stress. Even like a 10-minute quick walk a day can provide immediate energy and boost your mood. So exercise is a really effective way to snap out of a funk. And I think the other great benefit of exercise is that it clears your mind. And a lot of times we're depressed because we don't know what to do next. We feel really lost and confused. So exercise is going to give you that clarity you need to figure out what the next best step is for you. Limit time on technology, create boundaries. So most of the work that I do, besides when I'm at the Standard in Miami once a week, is on the computer and on the phone. And so I have healthy boundaries. I have certain hours that I allow myself to be in front of technology. I close the computer down. I take lots of breaks. I get fresh air. I go outside. I work outside in my side garden whenever I can. And I take plenty trips to the beach and put my feet in the sand and in the grass, like grounding yourself with earth, getting away from technology can really, really help with depression. And getting off Facebook all the time, if that's causing you upsetness, especially if you've gone through a breakup or, you're struggling with your life, there you are reading everybody's happy lives, not everybody posts it all. And so we're reading through filters. We're reading what people want us to know. And the authentic truth is we all go through shit in life, right? And sometimes on Facebook, it looks like everybody's happy but you. So maybe limit the time about that and really get that it's probably just not true. So they actually say sitting in front of a computer screen for 5 hours a day can dramatically increase the risk of depression and insomnia, which is why I am super mindful about not spending too much time in front of the computer, even though that is where my main source of work is. And then finally is getting sleep, okay? 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So they actually did a study and they found that getting 1 hour extra a night of sleep would do more for a person's daily happiness than getting a $60,000 raise. Oh my gosh. So that's a lot of happiness just from sleep. So near bedtime, don't do any work that requires alert thinking. It's best to keep your bedroom slightly chilly. Do maybe some pre-bed stretches. And light confuses the body's, internal clocks. So keep the lights low around bedtime. And then when you get into bed, make sure the alarm clock's not really bright. You may want to get blackout shades for your windows. It's really, really important to be in a dark bedroom so you can get a full sleep. And, you know, I put myself to bed early. I'm like, that's got, you know, I'll stay up all night. I love it. I'm like such an energy bunny, but I know that I'm not going to be happy the next day. So I put myself to bed. Sometimes I take a nice warm bath with aromatherapy. I always have candles lit at night. You know, sometimes I'll put on healing soft music to just start, you know, start relaxing me as it's time to go to bed. So if we ended the webinar just now, okay, that's right, Lorraine, no smartphones close by. Put your phone in the other room. If we ended the webinar right now, you could already start shifting your depression by implementing this. But again, I know this is just like dieting. You know what to do, but you don't do it, which is why it is so important to be a part of community, to have allies, to have others hold you accountable for taking these practices and really doing them, or else you're not going to see the results. The second tool is to clear your mind. When your mind is full of lots of confusion, it can cause an enormous amount of depression. So in the CI journey and all of the recorded webinars I teach and the retreats that I teach, I have foundational tools for my students. And those are mindfulness, meditation, and journaling. You see, we have something called Yak. You always know, right? It is this GPS in our soul, and it could take us from China all the way back home without one wrong turn. It's our intuition. And many times we are depressed because we don't know what to do about our financial situation. We don't know where to start with re-energizing our current relationship. We don't know how to move out of the grief that we're feeling from a loss of a family member or a partner. We don't know how to create new revenue streams of income. So we're lost, we're confused. And meanwhile, we're searching and searching and searching for answers. And all the while, they're waiting for us inside of ourselves. You always know. The thing is that this voice of wisdom, your intuition, you have to exercise it, or else you cannot access it. Scientifically, they have proven that we are all born with intuition, but unless we exercise the intuitive muscle, we will not be able to access it. So guess what? The 3 best ways are to access your intuition. That's right. Mindfulness, meditation, and journaling. So mindfulness is all about being right here, right now, in this moment. Because if you're not in this moment, you are upstairs, probably worrying about the future or regretting the past, causing this obsessive thinking. And in a follow-up course that I teach to this, in the Happy Full course, there is an entire module on how to control obsessive thinking and live more in the moment. One of those tools is called the 5 senses check-in. And so they have shown scientifically that you cannot focus on what you're thinking and what you're sensing simultaneously. So if you find yourself obsessing, worrying about your finances, regretting what you said to your partner that made them leave, whatever it is that's going on in your head that's causing you fear, anxiety, depression, you want to let those thoughts go and come back to the moment. Because right here, right now, even if your whole life is a complete debacle, right here, right now, you're fine, right? I mean, you're on a webinar. Obviously, you have a computer or a smartphone, so you're luckier than 99% of the world. You have food in your belly. You have a roof over your head. In this moment, you're fine, right? I'm kind of entertaining. Would you all agree that in this very moment, you are okay? Yes, yes, yes. Exactly. So we have to learn to come back to this moment again and again. and become the master of our thoughts, and not to allow our thoughts to control us, but for us to control our thoughts. We are that powerful. It just takes practice. So one of the 10 tools that I teach in a follow-up course called How to Overcome Anxiety and Stop Obsessive Thinking, we use the tool of the 5 senses. So I'd like to do this with you now so you have a visceral experience of it. So what I want you to do is just invoke the first sense, which is the sense of sight. So just start looking around the room you're in, noticing the colors and the textures, the objects. Just look around the room. Be here now. Now close your eyes. Deeply breathe in, noticing the sense of smell. Next, invoke the sense of sound. What are the sounds coming from inside the room? Next, invoke the sense of taste. Gently run your tongue along your teeth and swallow. And finally, the sense of touch. Notice the way the clothing feels on your body, the way the air feels on your face. And now notice your breath, how on the inhale it's cool and the exhale it's warm. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So, did you worry about the future or regret the past just now? Anyone? Anyone? Yes or no? Did you worry about the future or regret the past? Yes or no? No. Nope. 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 So, very powerful tool. Just that alone, right? Can get you out of the obsessive thinking into the present moment. And when you're present, you can think of that next revenue stream. You can think of the solution to your problem. You can talk yourself off of the shelf. You can get back into the moment where peace lives. So Teresa says, what happens if you are not okay in the present moment? Then, Teresa, you get to surrender and accept this moment for where it is. Because what we're always trying to do is resist what's happening to us. And what we resist persists. You know, I mentioned in the beginning of the webinar that last year I went through a little bit of a difficult time with my son. And he just hit his teenage years and was very angry. Hormones were raging. And we had a period of a week where we just couldn't get along. And there was a lot of arguing. And as a family, we collectively decided that he should go live with his father. And for those 4 months, my present moment was not okay. But I had to accept that he needed to detach from me. The little boy had to detach from his mother to become a man, that he needed to be around his father, and I did not like it. And it caused depression and anxiety. And what I did was I used my tools. I used my tools. And no, I didn't make them go away to a 0, but I got my anxiety from a 10 to a 2 because I was in acceptance of what was happening. I wasn't trying to hide from it, make myself wrong, guilty. It was just happening. But I did hold a space that we would have a breakthrough, that we would come to a time where we had an incredible relationship. And guess what? Now we do. We are closer than ever. And I am so grateful, like on my knees grateful that I had these tools of transformation, because I couldn't lay in my bed with the covers over my head because my son had moved out. I had to become still a teacher and a coach and a partner to Sev. I couldn't hide. So I had to accept and I had to surrender that everything that was happening was absolutely perfect, even though it sucked. So that is why I'm so passionate about this course, because it's these tools that saved and changed my life when I was going through a divorce where I couldn't even breathe. I was so frightened when I was going through that time with Cole, where I couldn't sleep some nights because I was so sad. But I knew I had to function, and I knew I had to reprogram my mind to create a new possibility for myself to get me out of that hole. And not once did I take one drug. And now I stand before you on the other side so I can put my hand out to you and say, here, come with me. This is what I have done. And that's what every great coach gets to do. They get to use their shit and turn it into gold. You know, it wasn't for vain. So meditation saved my life during these times. And they say meditation scientifically will actually escalate the serotonin in your mind. This is the happy hormone. Again, these are things you have control over. What you're putting in your mouth, how you're moving your body, what time you put yourself into bed, practicing mindfulness, taking time to meditate every day. But I will say this, meditation only really works with consistency. So again, I go back to having support, to being part of community, to having people hold you accountable. You know, that is the work that I do. I hold space for people. I create communities. I create accountability so that you can take these practices, because we can read all about this in books, mindfulness, tons of books on meditation, how to journal. But do you do them with consistency? Because that's what's going to give you the results. And I know that when you're experiencing depression and anxiety, it's that much harder to be consistent, which is why you need allies. Nobody should be on this journey alone, not one of us. And whenever I go through something, I'm smart enough to surround myself with other people that can lift me higher. So the practice of meditation that I teach in my courses is a very interesting technique, but it's really just about the consistency. There's so many different meditation practices out there, and they all really do work, but it is the consistency. But just by taking, 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day and sitting quietly, following your breath, choosing 2 words like here, now, just being, not doing, just being, clearing your mind, allowing that serotonin to be kicked up. It will decrease your depression, anxiety, but you must be consistent. Journaling as well. I don't know how we make sense of all the crazy thoughts going round and round and round. It's a freaking merry-go-round in there. How do we make sense of anything? How do we figure out the solutions to the problems that we're experiencing that are causing us the depression if we don't take out that garbage in our brain? We've got to do a mental taking out of the garbage. And the practice that my students and I practice every day with consistency is portal writing. And that is to tap into the twilight state between consciousness and unconsciousness. Einstein knew about that. Edison knew about that. What Thomas Edison would do is he would sit in a chair with a fork in his hand and a metal plate under him. And as he would fall asleep, he would have that fork hit the pan and it would wake him up. And in that moment, he discovered all of his incredible inventions. So many times when we're depressed, we need a solution to get ourselves out of the pit, the financial pit that we're in, or the crisis that we're going through. And so to use this time between consciousness and unconsciousness that can tap into our own internal intuition, to the wisdom of the universe. But even if you're not doing this technique, just journaling alone, just writing in your journal every day, a mental taking out of the garbage, is really going to help you get the clarity that you need to move forward and to let out that anger, that sadness, that shame, that whatever's happening for you. It's cathartic to let it out. And if you don't want anybody to read it, write it and then rip it up. As long as it gets up and out of your body, get it out. Clearing your space. Clutter is a real culprit for depression. And I think it's really important for us to, even if we're not organized people, to call in allies that may be really organized to help us clear clutter. You know, personally, I'm not an organized person. If you at any time looked in one of my bags, you would see a nice hot mess. Not one of my strengths. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I tried to overcome it for years. And the truth is I'm unorganized. And that's okay. I know that about myself. My assistant is super organized. My boyfriend is super organized. And before I had my boyfriend, I had an organizer come to my home every 3 months to reorganize everything. And, you know, I make sure I'm clutter free because we can't think clearly when we're having clutter, right? Here, look, it overstimulates our system, causing our senses to work overtime on stimuli that isn't necessary or important. It draws our attention away from what our focus should be on, like creating something new for ourselves. Makes it more difficult to relax, both physically and mentally. Constantly reminds our brains that we still have a huge to-do list. Causes anxiety because the idea of sorting piles is overwhelming. Creates feelings of guilt, embarrassment, particularly when someone drops by unexpectedly. And it frustrates us because we can't find anything ever. So I really urge you to clear your space and take small steps, one area of your home at a time. And you know, this is part of the courses that I teach. I hold my students accountable to clearing clutter. I'm mean too. I make them do before and after pictures on our Facebook group pages. I say, I want to see the before and after. I want proof that you cleared your clutter. So this is a great few questions. You might want to jot these down. When you are clearing clutter, say you are in your closet, ask yourself these questions. Have I used this in the last year? If the answer is no, it gets to go. Another good one is, would I buy this if I went shopping today? Or my favorite one is to hold the item in your hand and say, does this bring me joy? Does this bring me joy? If the answer is no, donate it, give it away. And with sentimental stuff, a really neat trick is to get a big box and put everything that you don't really use, but it's quote unquote sentimental, put it in a box and put it away. If you don't think about it for a year and you don't need to use it for a year, then give it away, and give it away as gifts. Like, you know, this was something that my grandmother had that I would love you to have. Gift it. So clear your space. All of a sudden, you're going to feel the weight lift right off of you. Shifting your thoughts. There's a great tool from the CI Journey where we get to meet our gremlin. Today, I want us to meet our depression gremlin. Okay, so we're going to remix this tool a little bit. So everybody, I want you to draw this little monster that lives inside your head. It's that voice that's telling you, you are so stupid. You're never going to get out of debt. Or if you've just broken up, you are unlovable. No one's ever going to want to be with you. You're going to die alone. Like the really horrific voices in your head around whatever is causing you depression. So I want you to draw this little monster. I want you to name it like Negative Nancy or Mr. No-No. And then 3 talk bubbles. What is it saying about you? What is this gremlin saying about you? And so why do we do this? We do this because we need to detach from this voice, call it by another name, because our intuition would never say that to us. Our voice of wisdom would say, you know what? Yes, this relationship is over, but it's clearing space for your divine partner to come in. Yes, you are struggling financially, but you know what? You're smart. You're going to start meditating and journaling and figuring out your life purpose, talking to people who are in the field of your bliss. You can do this. But we can't get to that voice of wisdom until we get real with our voice of judgment. So everybody, draw your depressed gremlin. Name it, draw it, and 3 negative things it says. Little talk bubbles coming out of its mouth. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do this exercise. So for you artists, don't get too into the drawing part. I want more about the name and what it says. So go more for the stick figure. And if you really want to get into the artwork, you can do it when the webinar is complete. Because we only have 2 more minutes. Okay, start wrapping that up. So now, if everybody could just type one thing into the chat room that your depression gremlin says, like the worst one, what is it saying to you guys? What is it saying? You're not lovable. You're going to be alone forever. You're not important. Nobody would put up with you. You're not good enough. Forget it. You'll never succeed. Not good enough. You're a waste of space. You're worthless. Don't bother. You see, you're not capable. They're all saying the same things, right? All these gremlins, they hang out on the corner drinking 40s together. You're not good enough. We're all saying the same thing. So what I want you to get is you're not alone. We all have these voices in our head. The work is to not give your power away to it. To know that it's a part of you. But you get to say, I see you, gremlin. I hear you, but you're not going to win. And it gives you an opportunity to then check in with your voice of wisdom that says you are good enough. You are capable. You are worth more than life itself. You will succeed. You are brilliant and gorgeous and talented and fabulous. I want to ask you guys a question. Would you ever say these words to your own child? And even if you don't have one, would you ever say this to your own child? Yes or no? Would you ever say to your child, you're worthless? You're never going to succeed. You're an idiot. You're unlovable. Would you ever say that? No. Well, guess what, guys? There is a very sad little child inside of you, and you are terrorizing it. So stop. I had a student do something once, and I thought it was brilliant. She took a photograph of her as a 5-year-old girl and made it her screensaver. And every time that gremlin came up, she looked at her phone and she stopped and she said to her, little Janie, I'm not going to say this to you right now. I love you. You're amazing. You can do it. We have to go from being our own worst enemies to being our greatest cheerleaders and supporters. So make a vow, your voice of wisdom, make a vow today to no longer hurt that child that's inside of you. It doesn't deserve it. It's impossible for us to grow and transform if we ourselves are kicking us when we're down. Shauna says, how do you learn to love yourself when everyone you've ever been close to tells you that? When you are surrounded by negativity, you get to choose, honey. You get to choose your friends. And sometimes those new friends become your family of choice. You get to choose who you spend time with. You get to put healthy boundaries with people that don't respect and honor you. And come into communities like this one, where people are only here to lift each other higher. That's how you do it, when you choose. So I think a lot of times we're depressed because we don't have clear direction. And we don't have something to be excited for and something to be in action about. So setting goals is such an important part of the process. If you are depressed because of your financial situation, set a goal around your finances. I feel ecstatic that I am now financially organized, mindful with my money, and growing my wealth. I feel overjoyed that I am now crystal clear on my life's purpose. I feel grateful that I am now in a healthy, conscious relationship. Back in 2007, I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't know if I would ever meet the love of my life. I didn't know if I'd ever get out of debt. But I declared that I would. And I surrounded myself with people that held me high. And I pulled in consistency, and I had people hold me accountable to staying with the daily practices. And along with these allies, I crawled out from under that hole. And now every single declaration that I have made, I have accomplished, and more to come. And so if I can do it, so can you. There's nothing different than any of us, except I didn't try to do it alone. I was smart enough not to do it alone. And I'm pretty sure you are too, because you're on this call today. So set goals. I feel blank that I am now blank, and read them every day. Wherever you put your attention is where your power goes. If you're waking up in the morning, putting your attention on lost love, putting your attention on what's not working in your life, what lack you have and fear and scarcity, that's where your attention goes. If you wake up every morning and you balance yourself, you're drinking a nice cup of tea, taking a beautiful walk, meditating or journaling, reading your intentions aloud. You have control of all of this, guys. Stop playing the victim. This is happening to me. Look what they did to me. Look what you're doing to you. You get to change that. We can't change anybody else. We can't change the circumstances, but there is so much in your power to change. And you ask yourself, do you want it or not? Do you want to be happy or not? You get to choose in every moment. And it is my honor and my pleasure when people choose me as their guide, as the one to hold space and to hold them accountable and to bring them into the folds of this community that I've created, where people do lift each other higher. And if you don't resonate with me as a coach, find your coach. I have a coach. I still have a coach. I have 2 coaches. I have a business coach and a life coach. 2 coaches. And I have healers when I go through stuff. I take care of myself. And you should too. So take action. There's nothing more depressing than sitting on the couch, eating bonbons, feeling like a victim. You get to get up off that couch and do something today. So everything that you want to shift about your life, all of those goals, make a measurable results action plan. The how, the what, the by when. The what, I'm gonna walk 10 minutes a day. How? I'm gonna enroll my best friend, my partner, my neighbor to go with me every morning from 9 to 9:30 by tomorrow. The what, I'm gonna set up a meditation station. Write out my 3x5 cards, write out my goals and read them every day by tonight. Give yourself deadlines and then tell somebody. Accountability, I can't stress this enough, is the missing ingredient to success. If you keep your goals and dreams inside of your head and you don't tell anybody, no one knows if you do them or not. And usually, then you don't do them. This is not rocket science, guys. Nothing that I'm telling you is news, but it's consistency, right? When you start applying these tools, you begin to modify your behavior by doing something differently. And when you do something differently, you're going to have a new experience, right? So you might be reading lots of books on personal development. You read books on how to find your life purpose, or read books of how to get out of debt or become financially successful, or read a book on how to make your relationship stronger. All of that information is stored into the intellectual part of your brain. But when you apply that info, even the info in this webinar, this is information, right? Same as reading a book. But when you can apply, okay, all of that information that you got today, that you got in those books, into action, when your mind and body now work together, that's when you have the new experiences, and it enriches the circuits in your brain. Then you actually feel clear about your purpose. You feel financially successful. You feel a deepening in your relationship because you began to teach your body chemically what your mind understood. So knowledge is for the mind, but experience is for the body. You need the mind-body connection. which is why all of the work that I do is very experiential. I teach courses, and then I have you have soul work where you go out and experience them. And then I hold you accountable to make sure you do it. Then you see results, only then. And it's not enough to do it just once. You have to repeat the experience and do it over and over and over again until it becomes a habit. I don't have to think about journaling and meditating. It's like brushing my teeth. It's a practice I've been doing for years, and that doesn't mean the universe doesn't punch me in the face once in a while, but when I say, great, thank you, now I have an opportunity to use my tools. And what used to level me for months, I'm back up in 30 seconds. Because I've gone from understanding these tools intellectually to embodying them because of my practice and consistency. That's how it works, guys. So if you're like, I've done all this personal development work and I've read all these books, are you doing it? Are you actually doing it in action, in practice every day? Do you have that accountability? Because if that's a no, that's why you aren't seeing the results. It's consistent practice, day in and day out. And it only takes 21 days to create a habit. So I've got something extraordinary to share with you. And I want you to stay on for a minute because I also have something that I'm going to gift to you today. And I want you to remember that nothing that I've shared with you today, okay, is theory. I, along with hundreds of my students, have used every single one of these strategies to shift our own depression. And I also want you to remember that I'm not extra special. I don't have access to some exclusive resources and tools. I just have a system that works. And if my students and I can change our mindsets, so can you.
So how are we going to do this? Okay, so I'm really, really excited. Remember I shared with you early on about the holistic remedy that helped my son move out of that high stress, high anxiety time, and the tools from the CI journey. Well, I thought, why not combine the two? Combine the two so that we can create something where you have the support of transformational tools and you have the support of a holistic remedy. I mean, the two of them together is unstoppable. So this is my breakthrough program, and I'm ready to give you the very first week for free. So it's called Happy, From Sorrow to Joy, and it includes the Activa Nutri product. So how does it work? Let me explain. It's a 30-day program. And what you do is once a week for 4 weeks, you receive a module of the Happy webinar series. You will have soul work every week to get you from where you are to where you want to be, plus be held accountable by me and be a part of a very loving community on our private Facebook group. So you will have access to me. You will also receive 4 weeks worth of Activa Nutri, Blues Away Holistic Remedy, which you will take twice a day for 30 days. So the thing is this. The remedies work by simply stimulating cell communication, right? It's kind of like just like we need food or oxygen to live, our bodies need to properly function to assimilate nutrition. So when we experience a lot of stress and anxiety, our bodies lose the ability to function properly. And the remedies that go along with Activa Nutri, yes, it is, Jennifer. The remedies that go up, what they do is they upregulate the body to itself. Okay, as simple as that. It's almost like how acupuncture stimulates the vital currents from the outside with the needles, the Activa Nutri simulates the vital currents from the inside. So I worked with a doctor, and I did clinical trials on all of this. I knew it had worked on myself, on my son, on my students, but I wanted to take the transformational workshop and the Activa Nutri and run clinical trials. And I also want to let you know, because you came today, that we're going to give you the first week absolutely free. Okay? And so here are the results. It was confirmed by Dr. T, she's a Western medicine physician, that vibration is linked to wellness. So when a patient comes in with a very low vibration, that is when illness sets in. So that's why we hear those words like vibrant health. You can actually raise your vibration in all ways we have discussed earlier, including the proper nutrition, proper sleep, meditation. So after I have worked with all of these remedies myself and gave it to others, I have found the remedies to be a very extremely helpful tool. So my job as a transformational coach is to find and share proven and effective ways to transform everybody for the better. So this is why I'm so excited to be joining with Activa Nutri in order to bring the best of both worlds to everybody. So if you want to check this out and get your first week free, all you need to do is go to www.activanutri.com/JGHappy, and that's going to give you the product the first week free. Now, I will tell you this. I want to be upfront with you. It will charge you for the shipping, which is $9.99. I was very clear with the company, and they agreed wholeheartedly that when you give your credit card for the shipping, because I think it's fair that you pay for the shipping, we're giving you the first webinar and the first week free of Activa Nutri, that it does not then take your credit card. It destroys the number. It doesn't keep it. It's not going to be on some auto plan where you automatically get charged the full price after the first week. It stops. So once you receive the Activa Nutri, you do the first week of the webinar, you try the holistic remedy in partnership with the transformational tools, and you see the profound results that I know you're going to see, then you can reorder. Okay, so there's no tricks about this because I don't like that. So I'm going to type in where you can visit right now. www.activanutri.com/JGHappy. So here is the link. You can go directly to this. It's not letting me do it, but you guys can see. I don't know why it won't let me put it in there. I'm trying to put it in the chat, but I think if you guys write this down, there it is. That should work. Let's see. Did it work? There it is. Okay, so you're going to go to this page right here, and you can sign up right on this page, request a sample, $0, and the offer is going to end December 19th or as long as the product is available. So we have a limited amount, so please go right away if you're interested in trying this breakthrough program and this breakthrough product. Get it now. Please share this with anybody in your family. If you feel like somebody else is going through what you're going through, it is my pleasure to share this. I'm also going to be sending the recording, and this way you can review everything, take more notes. I said a lot in this webinar, and I want you to have a chance to go through it again. You can forward the recording to all your friends and also forward them the link. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions? No, not at all. Actually, she was asking, is it mostly for men? Is it mostly for women? It's not. It's for men and women. And it actually is really neat that on the website you can see Sean Leiter, who is an incredible man who went through this entire process, and we shot his before and afters. We have a few other people on there that we shot their before and afters, so you can see real live people that have gone through the clinical trials with us and Dr. Teja. So just take some time, go on the website, check it out. All the information is there. There's frequently asked questions to really understand what is in Activa Nutri. It has absolutely no side effects. You can give it to children. You can take it with other medication. So it's very, very safe. And then the program, yes, PayPal, yay. Got it. Well, Samuel, I hope that you enjoyed tonight. Thank you so much for being on here with us. And thank you, everybody. Is there any other questions? I think all the information is going to be right there on the site for you. You're welcome, Sally. Oh, you're welcome, Susanna. Oh, good, Diana. You're welcome, Erica. Great. Hi, Beata. Yes, be in touch. I miss you. You're welcome, Jolene. Yes, Suzanne, whenever you sign up, you're going to get access to the webinar. You're going to, we're just launching this. This is brand new. So we're all just going to be starting together on the Facebook. It's going to be really exciting. You're welcome. Great. And please share this with people. I'm so excited about this program. Oh, thanks, Maya. All right, everybody. Miss you too. Nice to see some familiar faces. All right, everybody. Have a beautiful evening. Good night.